Does it work?
Yes, any
Yeah,
number
you
of
can do
permanents and or
poison.
players. So experience counters work. Let's laugh back, and Adam's right. Armageddon. All our mana seems so far away. Now it looks as though the game is to stay. Oh, I hate an Armageddon. Suddenly, there's no mana like there used to be. There's land destruction hanging all over me. Oh, Armageddon came suddenly.
Shit. It's good. It's like right on the tip of my tongue.
Do you know at least the band?
No.
What? I think it's an overrated band. Does that give you a hint? The people are going to be pissed. Oh! Trombley would be pissed if one of his favorite bands.
Did you do this or did
Adam number 2 did
help
this
you out?
one. Yeah, well, because we're about to talk about it, our gameplay.
Yeah, Armageddon.
And he wanted something that was to Trombley's heart.
Shit. Da, 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 da. Like at first I thought it was Queen.
Classic band. It's like one of the most popular bands in the world that doesn't play.
Beatles?
There you go.
Yesterday.
Beatles?
Oh, they just
my
came in.
troubles seem so far away.
Yeah. That's probably why.
I'm not a big
good.
Beatles fan.
That's good.
I'm not a big Beatles fan.
That's
but
all right.
This fits with our. What
we're gonna get a lot of. We're gonna get our first troll off of this. You don't like the Beatles? I think they're over. No,
See,
I said they're overrated.
My beef with the Beatles is that when I was growing up, there were people that were just like, they felt like they had to like the Beatles because everybody said the Beatles was good. You know, so it was just like a cop out. I was like, no, just like music. It doesn't just because everybody says the Beatles are the greatest band doesn't mean they're the greatest band. So, anyways,
but they're the greatest band. So,
is it your favorite band?
No, my favorite band is probably Queens of the Stone Age. And it's definitely trumps your favorite band, the Foo Fighters. Your favorite guy, Dave Grohl, wanted to join Queens of the Stone Age. To be their drummer. He wanted to quit.
Needed a drummer.
He went over there because Foo Fighters were about to break up, and then they're like, "Hey, you want to be our drummer?" And Dave Grohl's like, "Fuck yeah, fuck Foo Fighters."
Yeah, right. That's what it was.
That's what happened.
What's the new song by Queens of the Stone Age?
I don't know.
Yeah, they don't have any. We're the CommanderSmiths.
We are the CommanderSmiths.
I am Adam Smith.
And I'm Lowry Smith.
That was the longest freaking intro after a song. We just debated songs.
Waiting a real long time to jab you about that one.
We masturbated right there.
No.
Well, guess
masticated.
What episode is this?
This is 69?
Oh, yeah. I wanted you to say it just so I could do that. We got an interesting episode for you this week. We got gameplay that happened 2 weeks ago. We didn't record. I know we talked about it on the last podcast. We're like, oh yeah, we're gonna double record, but we didn't because it was a 2 hour long episode.
Adam got tired after a 2 hour
that drive home.
Modern Horizons
is brutal. I'm like pinching myself and slapping my cheeks and then my face cheeks.
You should probably do that on the regular anyway. So
yeah, I probably
because your cheeks are so cute.
So then we're also going to talk about our top 10 more of the Spark cards.
Commander cards, yeah. I mean, we both really love that set, and there's a lot of really good cards to cut or talk about.
To cut.
To cut from your decks. Anything. Buy them, go, not good enough. And
no, it stinks that Modern Horizons came out so quick afterwards. Because it's like, I want more boxes of War of the Spark. And
you got to move on.
Can't. I'm trying to pick up foils of all the commons and uncommon or uncommons and rares and all that, but man, well, spoiler alert, one that's on our list, an uncommon, is like a $50 foil.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Anyways, what else we got? And then there's specs, right? That's what
and then we'll do Smith specs of the week at the end.
Yeah. But first, you guys can follow us on Twitter.
At CommanderSmiths.
And see what beer Lowry is not sharing with me.
But right now, I'm sharing one with you.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
So, you want to taste it before I tell you what it is?
Tell me.
You should taste it before.
It smells really bad. It smells really bad. I don't really want to drink
It's better than you think, but it might not be for you.
This smells really bad. It smells like a skunk.
It doesn't. I kind of had it go up my nose a little bit when you made me laugh, and it I'll give you a hint. It burns.
What is this?
It's a jalapeno ale.
Oh,
Devil's Gap from Kinkader, Nebraska beer that I brought up.
Why did you bring it up?
Well, because I can't drink it all at the same time.
This is weird. I'm not going to say this is not in my anywhere top list of anything. We were doing a top 100 list. This is not
there.
No.
Pepper beers are kind of hard to do, and this is one of the better ones. I'll admit
I feel like you just gave me piss. I feel like you tricked me because you're not showing me the bottle and you're giggling, and I feel like you peed in that, and I'm drinking.
I would not pee. Like, come on. I don't have that good of aim.
I don't know if I like the smell of it. It smells like corn.
I kind of figured. After I poured it, I was like, you might not like this.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have a whole beer to myself on this one. I'm glad we were splitting this beer. You remember when I told you I didn't need any beer from Nebraska? I was like, yeah, you can keep it there.
So if people are going to call me out, I did not share the raspberry jalapeno ale with Adam. This one has a different flavor profile. Actually, I like this one better. So, or you can do Proxies of the Week from Adam on Twitter.
Yeah. Last week's was Finale of Devastation. So that's our first one for June. And like I said last week, if you're a patron, you can get this month's and last month's as well. And then what else do we have? Oh, we are doing a thing on Twitter. We just did our battle boxes of Modern Horizons.
And so I'll post a picture. You go find that picture, and then you guess who won and a score at the war side of the battle
winner.
box.
Just the number of the winner.
Yeah.
Or do you want both win number and lose number? Well, I guess that would go hand in hand.
Yeah, win and lose number. Yeah.
Unless there's ties.
Do we want to also do a second proxy if somebody can guess values?
Value. Yeah, you can get the closest to value and the closest score. We can get proxies out. So, and you don't have to be a patron for that if you just go on YouTube and
post it on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, no, because we have the Twitter picture.
Either one.
Production meeting.
You have two. We'll have the picture on Twitter, and then you have the place on YouTube. They're going to be watching it on YouTube.
Yeah, so watching the bars go up. No, there's no bars when you listen to it there.
But they're going to watch the video.
Oh, good point. But then they know.
Oh, then they know. You're right. Put it on Twitter. Cut all that. Cut all of that.
You can
post it on. You got to put it on Twitter before we release it, which will probably be Thursday. So you got about 3-4 days to guess who won at war and the record of war. That's it. That's all. We're cutting it down.
We're not doing the number. How much?
Fuck that.
Fuck that. We just worked this all out.
Trying to figure it out.
We worked this all out, even though we talked about it before.
I brought it up like 10 minutes ago. I was like, were we going to do this? And you're like, I guess we should.
Cindy's idea of doing that.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Kind of an interesting add to everything. But yeah, go on there. Then you get a proxy. You don't have to be a patron. But we would like you to be a patron. If you go on Patreon, you can become a member if you are $5 or more. You get a proxy each.
We'll send
a couple proxies each month. And we thank all of you guys. We did it last month, but thank you again for being our patrons.
Yeah, everybody keeps on upping, which is
awesome.
Really nice.
I think we're gonna get video equipment, right?
Yeah,
maybe?
well,
someday.
Your phone is dying when we do camera, so we'll just.
I almost kind of gave away what happens, but one of us took a shot and got done, and then I looked at the phone and it said battery dead or at 20%.
We thought it didn't work.
And it was just like, oh crap, we're gonna have to take another shot. We're or who? All right, so
what are the Owl Smiths?
What else do we got? We did Twitter, we did that. You can go to our Gmail, give us, like I said, Adam number 2 gave me that song for this week, and it's going to kind of fit into our gameplay for this week. Because
and we had somebody suggest a segment that we'll probably do in the next month sometime on Twitter, on any way you want to communicate with us.
Just chatting back and forth, and I was like, hey, that is a segment idea. So actually we're going to jump in.
We're working on that right now.
So what do we want to start with? Do we want to start with gameplay?
Let's do gameplay.
Well, really quick, how was Modern Horizons? You did the Modern Horizons.
I went to midnight release of Modern Horizons, drafted the 3 packs.
My birthday
Your birthday
month.
party. Yeah, well, it tells you how much I like you.
We played whirly ball, and then Lowry's like, peace out, I'm out of here.
I didn't give him anything on air for a present for his birthday. I left his birthday party early.
Yeah,
I was sore from whirly ball, which was awesome, by the way.
But you went and played with Mike, though.
Yeah, I went listener Mike, and that was fun. I got up there, sat around, or was there for about an hour and a half. I got one good game in. And
because you won with Oketra?
Yeah. That's all I'll say.
You don't want to rub it in?
Well, it was interesting because I don't play that way very much, but it was a 5-person game, and so they had it where you couldn't affect anybody beyond the people next to you.
That's how we used to play when we played 60 card decks. You couldn't affect anybody across the table.
And essentially what happened was Ben, who was next to me, he got mana screwed, so I left him alone. And I just built up, and so it was basically 1v1.
Oh, so you're able to get your army just
and then
brutal.
And then Mike and the other guy, I forget his name, but they were building up and doing really well. But I just had nobody touching me while they kind of went back and forth.
Oh, so then you just overran everybody?
So once I killed the two next to me, next turn I just kind of overran.
What was the winner? Like, was there any card that was just like...
cards were just working. So I had Oketra out, had Anointed a Procession that was doubling my 4/4 tokens.
I know that card.
Yeah, and then I was able to flicker in like the Gargoyle that has Flash. Okay. So like at end of turn, I was able to
4/4.
Yeah, I was able to get like 6 per turn
nice.
for like 3 turns. So...
so then you went to Modern Horizons, did a little draft there. Get anything interesting there?
Yeah. Pack one, pick one. I picked up the seasoned Pyromancer, and then proceeded to draft no more red cards. And I ended up going black, blue, like ninja-esque, unblockable. And the changelings are really, really work well in there because there is a nice.
I can't even drink it. He's just sitting gross. There. I keep burping it up, and I'm like, oh,
you haven't even had any. But the changelings are really nice because they work in
every kind of deck.
Yeah, if you have I was like tribal, or I was like ninjas, goblins.
Okay.
And so I had like the 1/1 unblockable block. Yeah, but goblins were black.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
And so I had one, like the goblin, whenever you have a creature die, you can scry one. And then I had the lieutenant where I could sacrifice goblins and they lose a life and I gain a life. But the changelings worked with that. And then the ninjas, when I had the unblockable changelings, like they would work both ways.
You draw cards. Did you have that one?
Yeah, I had that one. That one just overruns, like if you have enough of those ninjas.
So many of those ninjas are going in my ninja deck.
I ended up going 1-1, and then we quit. We didn't do a third round or anything. There was
okay.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I thought it.
So now let's move into our actual gameplay.
Yeah, from 2 weeks ago, we got about
8 games, 7-8 games in.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, 8 games in.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Lowry and I played against each other every single time, even though we rolled the dice later. We had to break into threes because we got more people in, and
which is good. We need to help each other to figure out what happened in these games.
Yeah. Although I don't appreciate. There's a couple. I'm going to go over this here in a second. He didn't allow. So
I've been dealing with this for like a week now. 2 weeks, it feels like.
So I was testing out Ilhrog and Tulsimir, and you were testing out Feather and
I mainly
Oketra.
Played Feather and Oketra.
Yeah, so the point was to test him out, and Larry didn't allow me to test Ilhrog
out. That's not true. If you made your deck better, it would have been able to withstand the onslaught that is Feather.
My beef is that Lowry, when he plays, this is one thing I do like that Lowry does, is when he sees an interesting deck that he hasn't seen before, it doesn't matter who it is, he allows it to play. He doesn't let them win, but he goes, I want to see what happens. Well, he did the exact opposite with Ilhrog. The first game getting into it. Okay. I cast Oketra. I cast Lowry's commander he wasn't
cheating.
Playing with.
He stole my deck.
I cast Ilhrog twice and didn't even get to do anything with him. He got killed immediately both times.
Let's put this in a little bit of perspective here. He plays Ilhrog on turn 5, but he has a Lightning Greaves in play, and he goes to equip it, and I go, well, I can't kill it. I can't deal with it if it's protected. And so that's the big difference. If I can do something about it, and I will let them do it if I can stop it. But if I can't stop it, then I'll make sure that I take care of it when I can. And so I wouldn't have been able to do anything because Feather is very spot removal heavy rather than Wrath. There's only 2 Wraths in there, and I did not have one in my hand. Got to take care of Ilharg, because the other thing is I have seen Ilharg deck just in the form of Kalia because they're very similar cards.
Yeah, but Kalia is a little bit different. I mean,
I don't really see, other than Kalia has 2 other colors.
Has a lot of other tools. Mine is a little more difficult. So here's I had bitched about it while we were playing. And then the funny thing is that we're on a text string with number 2, and he's like, yeah, Larry didn't really give you a chance to test out Ilharg. I was like, see, you fucker. I told you to give me a chance.
And I would just say you both are wrong. So, but I mean, it is, there is a certain part of that too. Like, it is really strong.
I don't know if it is, because right now I feel like I have to do a big...
If you weren't protecting it, I would have left it alone to see what happened. But at the same time, like that, I'm not going to say it's a problem. It's a really good problem that Feather has, but I can, with Feather, I can choose to kill a creature every turn. Like every round, I can just go, what is the biggest threat?
That's one thing we wanted to kind of talk about a little bit. And I wanted to bring up was, I think Feather is a very powerful. That's actually why I think
really, really powerful.
It was weird that you didn't let Ilharg go, because you've actually tested Feather out quite a bit, and we've seen it a bit. So I was surprised that you didn't want to see what would happen, like how to deal with it. And there's multiple people on the board, but it's
but at the same, I killed Kalia twice. I killed Niv-Mizzet Reborn twice. I was able to kill everybody's commander at least twice that game.
Oh, good for you.
So. We don't do the whole. I know some other casts, like I think Command Zone does this, where they give power level. A lot of people do the power level. I don't know how to really judge that. I just can tell when a deck plays how strong it is. If we were to put it on the 1 to 10 scale, I'd put Feather as one of the top commanders that we've built over the last year. I don't know if I said that last week, but I know we've talked about it. I think that's one of the top decks, and it would probably be a 9 on a 10 scale if we did that.
I would disagree.
You don't think it's that strong? You said you have your
the thing that I would say about Feather is, like, a deck is really, like, Feather as a card is incredibly strong, and if she stays in play, it is my best deck.
Cheap. But was it the first game? How many times did you cast
first game? I was paying $15 to put it back out again.
And you were still doing it. That's the crazy
and
thing.
then it's like the whole thing though is like, if Feather's not on board, I can't do anything. My deck just doesn't work. And so that's the biggest weakness. And there are decks out there where, like, I would put Nikia stronger because I have ramp in there that goes along with Nikia,
but your Feather would wipe out Nikia. I don't think
so.
We should test it out one of these times.
The thing though is, like, there isn't anything that will help duplicate Feather's effect. You know what I mean? So Nikia can go, Nikia is my main ramp. If I get that out, things go crazy. If it doesn't, I still build a board presence. But with Feather, I get Feather out, it dies. I can't do anything until I get Feather out again. Like, just cards are dead in my hand.
Yeah, but that's why you don't normally I mean, I wouldn't play Feather and not have a protection answer to it, you know?
But then you're like, I would agree with that, but I played that whole game without protection, but you have to go
get pregnant.
Yeah. You have to kind of balance it. Like, I didn't draw protection that entire game. I can't just sit there and not do anything.
No,
but I had like
that,
2-3 pieces.
Answers. You have damage.
I had 2-3 pieces of removal. That's the other part.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to be able to kill everything on board, then you got to go be aggressive in that regard as well.
That's the hard part. Is like, anytime that you cast your kill spell, I knew the game was over, you know, because you were getting that right back again into your hand. That was what happened with Ilharg multiple times when I tried to play that. You did it, and I was like, well, he can cast that every single turn now. I can't get my stuff out. I'm dead.
And I would just say, like, you know, as Ilharg, and once you realized that, you said you're going to change about 20 cards in the deck. I felt like,
but then when Adam threw in that comment, I was like, I really didn't get a good testing of it, you know, like, not just picking on you with that, but I really didn't get a feel of how that deck works. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about too. It's kind of crazy going into this whole thing. Well, I guess I will get to that in a little bit, but I had high expectations for Ilhrog, and I wasn't excited about Tolsimir, and each of them did a
completely
180.
Different.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit. And that was game 3, 4, and 5 is when I played Tolsimir, and it was pretty crazy. But it's weird how you build the deck and you have this expectation, even on paper, like, okay, this one should work this way, and then it completely does the 180. And it's weird that both of my decks were the flip-flop. Like, I thought Ilhrog was going to be the best one, but it's probably because you were picking on me.
It's not, and I can go into more depth of that. So again, Kaalia and Ilhrog are very similar styles of decks, and so you have a smaller creature that's cheating bigger creatures into play, and if that creature doesn't work, like Kaalia die, if you just kill Kaalia like that or Ilhrog, that's how you attack those decks. And then if it gets into the later game, they can be very powerful, but they're only doing one powerful thing at a time, which is incredibly slow instead of 2 really powerful things at a time, or 3. And so what you've done is essentially neutered that style of deck. So you need to, in my opinion, you need to turn those decks into ramp decks plus the and so again, I don't know where your mana ramp is on that, but you are only mono red, so it'd have to be a ton of artifacts that are helping you out.
And there isn't a lot in that, because my whole thought was, and actually I played Ilhrog wrong the first couple of games. I kept putting him in the command zone, and I was just, you forget that last little bit of text in there,
because you can put it third from the top.
And so then the one game I was like, I just want to do it because now I just realized I can do it.
Fucked yourself.
But it wasn't going to do anything. That game was game over anyways. What I realized is I have probably 20 creatures that are bombs in it, where it's like, oh yeah, with Ilhrog, this is going to be awesome. Well, the thing is you have all those bombs in your hand. You're not able to cast every single one of them.
Yep.
I know I have sneak attack and all those other things to, do
like
things
like duplicate what you're doing.
Yeah, the token things was actually a good add. The minion reflector. I had some pretty sneaky stuff I was gonna do up my sleeve, but you stopped that as well. But
I don't know.
What I realized is that I really need to cut that down, instead of 20 to maybe like 7 or 10 creatures, because you just have that one that's going to keep repeating,
because it's going to come back into your hand.
Yeah, and then you're doing ramp stuff where it's either creatures that are generating mana or protection of some sort or draws or something like that. So that's where I kind of decided I'm going to change that deck to add that kind of thing in there.
For sure.
I think that'll run a lot better, and then Ilhrog won't be so vulnerable when it comes out.
Yeah, because it's a sitting
on.
duck there.
Yeah.
I don't have to remove anything else other than Ilhrog. But if you have Ilhrog and another ridiculous creature out because you've ramped into it or somehow got it out at the same time, that makes it a lot harder choice.
So I think, just a quick note to it, I think what I'm going to do is, it's going to be, I love ETB. We all love ETB stuff. So it's going to probably be a few things that have the ETB effect, because then if I do play it early game, I get the end of the battlefield, I'll draw a card, get a land, whatever we do with that. Maybe one of the new cards off of Modern Horizons going to get a mountain or something like that. But then if I, if I play it with Ilhrog, I can still get. Did you hear my chair?
I did.
But then if I play with Ilhrog, I can go continuously get the enter the battlefield effect, so I can use it both ways. Anyways. Game 1.
Now that we talked about, I know you're trying to get stuff off your chest there.
Yeah, I had to clear the air. There was some built up anger, but no. Game 1 went. What did it? Do you have it written down?
So I was playing Feather. You were playing Ilhrog. Trombley didn't play this game.
So we had Niv was number 2.
Niv Mizzet Reborn was number 2 was playing Niv Mizzet Reborn, and Jeremy was playing Miri of the Weatherlight. Green-white cat, when it attacks, or if it's tapped, you can only block with one creature and it can only attack that player with one creature.
And you won with multi-kicker Comet Storm.
Yeah, so as you could tell, like, basically the nice thing was I had removal in my hand at all times, and I almost had too much removal because I had like options that I could do with, but every turn I could at least play or kill the biggest creature on board. Livewire Lash was on Feather, which was crazy good, way better than I thought it would be. And what that is,
that's
whenever you target
took out
Ilharg,
we were both saying it
Reborn.
different at
Yeah.
the same
Well,
time.
it doesn't matter.
Ilharg,
You say it
Ilharg.
how I do it. But like, I was able to remove Kalia and then have the 2 damage kill Murray at the same time.
Not that turn, because
Or not Kalia, but I was doing the
Ilharg.
next game. Yeah,
you did mine. Yeah,
but I did yours. I was able to kill a creature and a 2/2. Like it got really powerful. And I ended up winning that game because I had. So second to last turn, I did Comet Storm for 8 and multi-kicked it 4 or 5 times. And so I killed Miri, 3 Planeswalkers, and dealt and put number 2 down to 14.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy was under 14. I think it was like 9 or 10. And then it was able to get back to me. And then I was able to pay 14 or deal 14 damage, kick it, and so they both died.
Yeah.
And so, and because one of the kicks was I killed one of my own creatures so that I would get Comet Storm back.
Cheater.
Oh, no. I forgot. I did not kill it because what number 2 did with, he was playing Niv Mizzet Reborn, which was a Planeswalker deck. And he did a Kiora effect that made it so that Feather could not deal or receive damage. He did not know I had Comet Storm in my hand. And so what that did was I was able to target Comet Storm towards that. It would prevent all the damage and it wouldn't die. Because I ended up getting Chandra's Outburst, which would have dealt like 6 damage to every creature and player.
And you notice why I'm not talking here? Because I was already out of the game.
He was already dead.
I was out early.
And so he was trying to outplay that so that like because it's with Chandra's Outburst, it deals, or Feather is the one that deals the damage. And so if it can't deal any damage, I can't really play Chandra's Outburst. And I had the Comet Storm, which just was going to end the game a lot quicker that way too. So Lowry wins.
Oh, good for you.
Good for you, Lowry. Good for you. So then, second game, Trombley jumped in on this one. So I had Ilharg again. We had number 2 Asai. Jeremy had Miri, you had a Ketra, and Trombley had Kalia. Here comes the reason for the song, but Trombley played.
No, I gotta say my start was fucking ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that was pretty crazy.
So it was turn 1 Soul Ring, turn 2 Smothering Tithe, and I started the game.
Stupid.
And, so nobody could even pay that first turn because they all were at 1 mana.
And we did.
So I get 4.
We just let him get all the mana he wanted. It was insane.
It was crazy.
And then Trombley ended up getting a Smothering Tithe.
Yeah, he did.
Too.
So like,
it's just. But then, then
I had this huge board presence. Ketra came out like turn 3.
Yeah. And you attacked, and you got Settle the Records by
Jeremy. Settle the record, because I wasn't even attacking him, I don't think. Yeah. He was just like, fuck all that, get rid of it all.
So Larry's going to search for all his land.
I put 10 planes into play.
Trombley's like, well, I'm Armageddon, so all your land is gone.
And yeah, so he was the next player too. So I was able to replay Oketra, and then, next turn Trombley Armageddon, and so fucking wipe me. Everybody else had a board presence. I had Oketra. And no land.
And then Jeremy ended up winning. I'm not sure exactly how he won that game, but I think he just built up quick enough. And
his Miri is going to end up being like a smaller token deck.
Yeah.
And so if he's going to be able to like work off of less mana.
So Armageddon is a theme of this night, just to let you know, and this is why the song was made. Third game, I switched over to Tulsamir. This isn't when Tulsamir did its best. This is actually probably the worst
it's ever been.
Like land. I had one last year.
You had like a Arcades game where I randomly hit you with File Smasher.
Yeah, that's right. That's the only other land drop or mana screwed one I've ever come. But this is probably the worst. I had Tulsamir. Number 2 had Ruin. Which one is that?
He's the Blinking Rhino.
Oh, that's right. I always forget that guy. Jeremy had Miri again. Lowry had Oketra, and Trombley had Kalia. Like I said, I started with 2 land in my hand. I didn't draw my... Well, actually...
Turn 2, you did Sylvan Library.
Sylvan Library. So my first turn around, I drew all those cards. So I did 8 life because there was no land there. Then number 2 killed it. And then 11 turns later was my next land. And then my 4th land was turn 17. Well, 17th draw.
So that one did not go well for Adam.
So I was bitter and just not wanting to play Magic anymore. No, but... Trombley played Armageddon again in that game,
and he had Kalia out, and he was just able to put a ton of pressure on the board.
Did he? Yeah, he ended up winning.
I'm pretty sure he won that one.
That was a. Is there anything else notable in that one? I think it was Armageddon again. So then, game number 4. This is where I didn't have everybody's down, but you remember this. So I had Tolsimir again.
I was playing Kahiji this time, which whenever a creature attacks one of my opponents, they get +2/+0.
That's right. This was the nuts one. This was the coat of arms bonkers. One, wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah. So it was Kalia, Miri, and then number 2 was playing Niv Mizzet Perun this time.
That's right.
And you went bonkers with Tolsimir.
Yeah, so Tolsimir, well, let's get... You had the survivor token guy out, and then...
Yeah.
We had another... Zach was on his way. He was about to get to our house, or get to Trombley's house, and I was like, all right, we'll get this game over, because there was like 15... of those guys out. And then somebody had soldiers. Remember, we all paid for soldiers.
So there's a it's like you pay one white. No, it's not Ascension, but everybody can pay as much mana as they want, and every player gets that many soldiers.
Yeah, that's right.
It's from the original Commander set, and so everybody ended up getting 5 1/1 soldiers. I had the creature that created survivors.
Yeah.
So I hit Jeremy first, and then he just blindly sent them into yours and like killed them all because he's like, "You're giving me stuff I don't want it." I'm like, "God damn it!" And so I was giving number 2 and Kalia survivor tokens, and then you went.
I was like, "All right, let's end this game," and I threw out Coat of Arms, and so we're sitting there with 22 22s and all this crap. It was freaking insane.
There was a lot of power on the board, and nobody did anything.
Yeah, because actually we should have killed Lowry.
You should have killed me right out there, yeah.
I could have done it, like when I cast
but you would have died.
But I would have died instantly because number 2 and Trombley, or Jeremy were right next to me, and they had more creatures than I did, and it would have just run me over. So I was like, well, they have enough. They should kill Lowry. They didn't do anything. So then it comes
because
to Lowry's
if anybody would have done anything to me, they would have been more open, and like it just became too much power, and then it was just wall building at that point.
But then Lowry had the game winner that was saved by a counter spell.
Oh yeah, there were so many creatures on board. There were, Well,
remember, because I had the Changeling, so mine was going to be a 50-something creature.
Yeah.
And
but what I
Chameleon Colossus that would have come in as a 58 or something ridiculous.
But I cast Azuri's Predation with like 40 creatures on board, and that would have made 80 like
4/4s.
Yeah, 4/4s,
and killed almost. Or
because I had Anointed Possession and played that time too.
They'd all be.
Yeah, they all would have been like 80/80s or whatever.
Killed all of ours and then just.
I would have just been able to smash.
And the one time I will say thank you, Counterspell. Friggin' number 2 had a Counterspell.
You should be bitching about that for 2 weeks. Just get the game over with. That would have been. That was a great play. And then after that, I had blown my wad at that point. Yeah, I was kind of done. That was
a good play. If there wasn't Counterspell, you would have had the one. So I ended up having Aetherflux Reservoir, Doubling Season, Helm of the Host, and so what was happening is I put it on Tolsimir, and Tolsimir would make a copy of itself. A wolf would come in. Granted, only one of the wolves would actually fight something, but still,
but
two of them are
gaining
coming
3
in.
life would trigger on 2 of them, and then another time. So like you were gaining like 18 life, plus because like the wolf triggers would go 1, 2, 3. Because Tolsimir is not a legend off of Helm of the Host, but
so you just keep gaining.
The wolf token is a legend, so you're still fighting one, but. It was
ended up being able to just use Aetherflux Reservoir and kill Jeremy and number 2 with just
at the same time.
With using my
because he was ending up like, I'm going to put this token, this wolf token, and I'm going to gain. You're gaining like 36 life for like 3-4 turns in a row.
Didn't I use the kill? I think that's how I killed Trombley or something. I think I did that first.
Yeah, you got rid of him,
and then that might have been the next.
I was
game.
already dead. I think
I don't remember how you died, but
I don't either. So then, you just went kill, play a token, kill.
Yeah,
it was game.
So then the next game I played Tolsimir one more time. Wait, was it? No.
This is the Saheeli game. So I played Saheeli the Gifted as mine. There was Kali again.
This was an interesting play.
You were playing Tolsimir again. Number 2 was playing
Was it the one generating the 1/1 artifact flying guys?
That'd be Sai.
That's Sai.
I don't think so.
No, what was he playing? Number 2, tweet us. Which one were you playing?
It's a little late. But it didn't really matter because the crazy thing was, so Saheeli, I played Karn Silver Golem, and then Trombley attacks me with Kalia and puts the dragon, when it deals damage to an opponent, you steal all their artifacts. So he steals Karn, and I'm like, oh shit, I can't do anything with that dragon on board. Because I had Mycosynth Lattice in my hand.
Well, then I killed the dragon.
Then you killed the dragon, so then I play Mycosynth Lattice, which turns all permanents into artifacts. And he has a bunch of mana open, and what you can do was Karn.
Don't forget, Karn, Smothering Tithe, Trombley had, so he was able to
just kind of get everybody. But what you can do with Karn Silver Golem and Mycosynth Lattice in play is you can pay 1, turn a land into a creature for its converted mana cost, which is a 0/0, and it dies.
Yeah.
And so it's a one-sided Armageddon as much as you want.
Yeah.
And he
so
was just
kind
able
of
to
an
start.
Armageddon, Trombley again.
Third one.
So
at least it was different.
The stalemate with it was I had over 50 life already because, again, Aetherflux Reservoir came out with Tolsimir, and I had just an arm. I was controlling the board by that fighting. It's so much more complicated. You think it's going to be easy, and that's the thing I was kind of talking about earlier. I think it's going to be easy that it's just you're playing wolves, they fight, and you're gaining life. No, it's like you have to actually plan this out of, okay, which ones I'm going to start going first, because I played Parallel Lives and Anointed Procession. You killed my Parallel Lives, I think, and then I played
and then
Anointed.
the next turn you did Anointed Procession.
So
because that was the last game, but I killed your Parallel Lives and the Coat of Arms, and then I did a removal spell, and I should have killed Tolsimir, but I killed Niv-Mizzet Perun instead, and it should have been Tolsimir because Helm of the Host was on it, and I just was not thinking. It was a really bad misplay. But again, I could have went for that kill, and you could have just went like
50 left.
minus 50. It's going to stick around.
Yeah.
So it's... So you're just basically the hangman sitting there going like, you want to do something to me?
And so that's what happened with Trombley in this, I think, is he knew that if he started taking my land out, that I would just go 50 life. Well, I'd still lose all my land.
No, you wouldn't, because it'd leave the stack because he would die.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But he did it like one at a time, a little piecemeal, kind of did it around. He wasn't super aggressive on anybody.
And by that point, I had Soul Ring, I had Elvish Harbinger, so I had enough to be able to cast whatever I wanted in my hand. And so he removed all mine and let it come to my turn, whatever. I basically wiped everybody out again the same way with doing Aetherflux and killing them.
I think it'd be interesting to see what Tolsimir does
without that.
I think it'd still be a really big force to reckon with, but with Aetherflux Reservoir sitting there, that's an absolute win con in that. But like, it'd be interesting to see how you do without that.
But the interesting thing about that was Aetherflux wasn't the one that was giving me the life to do it.
Yeah,
it was Tolsimir doing it all on its own. So
Absolutely.
I mean, even think of Aetherflux not being there. The game before, I spent 150 life to kill 3 people. I would have been at close to 300 life when it was all said and done.
It would have been, it seems like it's going to be really hard to deal with if you don't have Reservoir, because you're just going to gain so much life.
Yeah, so it's funny because when I built that deck, I wasn't thinking of putting both Parallel Lives and Anointed Procession and Doubling Season, but I'm like, well, I'm making tokens, I got to put them in there, and I feel like they're a must-have in there. So then we move into, that would be I think that's...
so the Saheeli game, that you still were going bonkers, pretty similar, different cards, but...
Yeah. Then I played, we went down to 3s.
We went down to 3s, yeah.
And I mistakenly, and this is where it was a bad play, because I really wanted to test Ilhrog out again.
But I switched over to Feather.
And he went to Feather, and I knew he was at Feather, and Trombley was playing Kalia, and I was like, we really need spot removal. And that's kind of a thing when you're playing, I don't know how some play groups do it, but we kind of feel out, see what you're playing, because this is
if
exactly
it's going to end up being a good or
is,
bad game, like you switch over to a deck that's going to be.
And I should have picked something that had a little more either spot removal or was quicker or just had more things that came out. Instead, Trombley and I are playing a deck that all you need to do, like Lowry talked about earlier, is kill your commander, and the game is over. And so
it's not necessarily over, but it much puts you guys like. I'm playing the first and second phases of the game, and you guys aren't until the late game, if you make it there.
But in a 3-person game, by the time I cast Ilhrog, you killed him, and I was like, this is game over. Like, then I was actually going over. I think I was eating some pizza, and I was like, hey, did you kill me
you
yet?
were working.
And I was working a little bit too, but yeah, it
so
just dominated.
So I only killed Ilharg 3 times. And you bitched about it for so long.
Killed him more than that. In the second game, you killed him too. Anyways, so then we went into the next game, and it was me, Jeremy.
I was playing Oketra in the second game.
Yeah, and you were killing
I don't think I killed it.
Yeah, you did. You just kill stuff. That's all you do.
Maybe.
The next game was with me, you, and Jeremy. Jeremy was playing
Mogus.
Oh, that's right.
Mogus.
And I was playing
basically stacks.
Yuriko.
And I was playing Feather.
Because I was like, I gotta fucking kill that fucker.
Yeah, I could have switched out, but and that's exactly what happened though. Like, I'm playing Feather turn 3, and then before I get to do anything with Feather, you evoked a Shriekmaw, or just played Shriekmaw into play. Killed Feather. And
oh no, I did just straight up play
I think you just played it
because he came back to my hand later.
And so you like killed Feather, and then I just got fucked.
Yeah.
So I didn't
Mogus
do anything.
ended up winning because the downfall of Yuriko is it doesn't have a lot of life gain in that deck. Until now, we have a ninja that actually gives life.
You got a
other
chance
ninjas.
at it, yeah.
So, but I wasn't hitting the big kills like
you're dealing maybe like 6 total.
Yeah. And
losing life and dealing like 2-3 damage in combat.
And I wasn't able to set my top as well. So that's a key with Yuriko is there's a lot of stuff we have. We have that whole episode we're talking about setting the top, and if you can't set the top of Yuriko, it's going
to be a lot slower, not as efficient. And like Feather, once I started get going, like I still didn't do anything for like half the game.
It was right at the end you started actually.
But if I wasn't at so little life, I would have ended up winning because what I ended up doing was like Feather survived a turn, and then I played Zada, Hedron Grinder, and then I cast a 1-mana draw spell, which drew me 5 cards, and then I was like, oh shit, this is crazy. And then I died before it got to my turn because of Yuriko wiped me out because I was down around like 6, I think.
Yeah, well, Jeremy had perfect, like he had Ugin out, he had everything just wiping our board and everything like that. He had that working pretty damn good.
Yeah, Mogus did really well.
Yeah. So then the last game it was still us 3 again, and I played Arcades.
I played Ramos, Dragon Engine,
and then
he played Marin.
Oh, that's right.
And so I won with the Marin deck.
Yeah, it was. That was the joke of it, because Larry couldn't win with his cards, but he played all of Marin's cards.
So what I was able to do was I was able to cast Villainous Wealth for like 11, and I did it on Jeremy's deck because I can't use walls. Like getting a bunch of walls from Arcades is
not
garbage.
Gonna do anything.
Yeah. And then the next turn, I cast Eternal Witness to bring it back to my hand, and then I did it for 14.
That was so stupid.
And it still took me a couple turns because you played it to Teferi's Protection, and I was keeping him around because then I'd lose all my stuff.
That's the thing about Arcades, man. That deck is kind of crazy. It just hangs around. Oh, I kept wiping the board a little bit. Oh, you did. How much did you almost...
I had Yohani up to like 14.
No. That was what Lowry pulled off something out of his ass in one. He was trying to kill Jeremy and I at the same time. So this is where Teferi's Protection can win you the game in a way. He evened it out so he would kill me and kill Jeremy, and then I did Teferi's Protection. Now if he did that, his board is gone besides like 2 things.
If I killed Jeremy, all of my stuff would have been gone. And so what I ended up having to do was sacrifice creatures that were going to kill Jeremy to Yohani. Then they were going to... they had to sacrifice stuff because I had a Dictate of Erebos in play. And so then Yohani got bigger, but thank God it was going towards you and not Jeremy. Yeah. And so I had to keep him at like 2 or 3. And like he didn't have anything. Like he had run out of cards, and I... and so that was the downside. Like all I did was kill Marin. I don't want to deal with that shit.
Yeah. That would have been so interesting or funny if you actually would have killed him and like, no.
Yeah. I mean, getting rid of him would have been fine too, because I was wasting a lot of removal on him. But yeah, that was a kind of a fun game, but it did take like an extra half hour.
Yeah, because we were going to play another big game, and then it was just like, oh, it's already 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So those were the games. How did you feel your decks? Of course, I feel Feather is I think it's one of the best decks that we have. I do like your other one too, the one we just talked about.
Yeah, I think Meldrotha is way up there as well.
Yeah, that's up there. I think those are your top 3 for sure. I think Yuriko's my and we're just talking about the ones that we built over since we started this podcast over the last year. I think
I would definitely say that my deck building has gotten better. Like it's cleaner from the
good for
no. I'm just saying because I'm doing it more consistently. Mm-hmm. I've always tweaked my decks year round, and I always do, and I still change them. But I don't think I never made them every month and a half.
Yeah,
and that's what's going on right now.
Decks I've ever built.
I used to sit down once a year and build 15 in a month and a half. Yeah. I would just once a week pound out and then just play them for a year. Mm-hmm. Now I'm consistently doing it every month and a half to 3 months. And I can definitely tell the difference. Just consistently working on decks has improved deck building.
Yeah, it's very different because how my deck building was in the past was more of I have an idea or something triggers I like this mechanic and I want to try to build a deck with it, and then I work on it for a couple months and then get the deck out. This is more of, it's kind of like homework, but it's fun. It's but it's different because it is trying to make a deck. You see a commander with like we did tonight. We might make something for Modern Horizons. We each got
we got to figure that out.
Possibly both of us might play 5 color commanders.
I'm thinking the new Captain Sisay card that pays 5 different colors. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You're thinking Morphedron or whatever?
I guess that's my 5 color. It'll be interesting.
We'll see. So we'll probably more talk about it next week.
Yeah. But it definitely has it's very different. I don't know what my top decks would be though. I would say Eureka is probably my number 1. Mm-hmm. I feel like Arcades is up there.
Arcades has so many wraths to deal with, that are so one-sided that it's really consistently good.
And then I'd probably throw in, God, I don't even know what my next one would be. I don't know.
Tolsmere might be up there.
Oh yeah, I guess that's a good point. I need a little more testing with that. But that is because the whole point of Tolsmere is I don't have any other removal in it because it's doing enough removal. I have other spot removal, but not creature removal because Tolsmere does that all by itself pretty much. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. What we should do maybe is top 10 of our decks of the year. What we would kind of rate them. Maybe
that could be around New Year's.
Maybe.
I don't know how to do a year. At this
all right,
point.
So we're already 45 minutes in. Should we move on
gameplay.
To our?
Thank you for sticking around and listening to us ramble.
War of the Spark cards.
Yeah, top 10. Why am I talking like this?
I don't know.
It's annoying me.
So really with this, it's not just saying the best. We just feel like these are the best ones for Commander. The most use you could have.
I think they're kind of yeah. I think we're not having legends in there like the last couple times. It's if they're legends and you find
legends,
them cool.
But
no commanders. You can't have
creatures.
Nothing commander here. And so, starting off with number 11, it's
we're
our
cheating.
Honorable mention, Nicobolus God Pharaoh.
The hard part, the reason why we don't have it in the 10 is it is so specific to a deck. Mm-hmm. You're not having this in your...
It can't go in
Atraxa decks because it has red in it. But if you get it out, it has every freaking thing of every Planeswalker that's in play, and it's a good card.
I haven't seen it played either, so it might be way better. But again, I think it being at, what is it, $20 right now?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if it doesn't go in a your own Super Friends deck, it's not worth playing at all.
Yeah. But our number 10, we're just going to kind of work our way down from the top to the bottom, not saying any order.
It's not in any order.
It's more of price, and we're working our way down. So the most expensive one is, you probably guessed it, Teferi Time Raveler. This is probably one of my favorites, actually, because of its static ability. Each opponent can cast spells only anytime they can cast a sorcery. So
yeah,
I like that.
This absolutely stops Feather.
Yeah.
There's... I forgot to talk about... So Jeremy's Mogus deck has a card in there that I totally forgot that would kill Feather. Painful Quandary and Oppression, which is what I have in Sancha deck as well, which is sweet. But whenever you cast a spell, you got to discard a card or pay 5 life.
Oh yeah, he did that.
And that's what my deal was to cast 3-5 spells per round. And so I was just I can't do anything anymore.
Yeah, and I was drawing enough where I was able to discard. Although I had enough life, I did the life thing quite a few times.
I did it one time and it screwed me. So being affecting the timing and the amount of spells that you can play really affects Feather if you have a Feather player in your play group.
And so Teferi is
really
Teferi is
good
just
against
good
it.
to have in any.
Yeah, you're going to stop that Settle Wreckage against you. You're able to play. Are you able to play your sorceries at instant speed?
Yeah,
as well?
if you do the +1.
Yeah, and so like that just. It can be really, really powerful, and I think this should go in a lot of blue-white decks.
I just hope the price comes down because I really want to get a lot of these.
Agreed, but I don't think it will.
It's
I think this is straight up a $10 card, easy.
Yeah. Well, it's 17.
And that's after
bucks
rotation,
now.
which is 2 years from now.
Yeah. Number 9 on our list.
We raved about this one. I'm surprised that it's below $8 right now, but Finale of Devastation.
Yeah, this one is definitely.
You pay X, and then you give your creatures +X+X. If it's over 10, you can pull it from the library or the graveyard for X. Like, it's so good.
This is actually, I won the game. This is what I was going to cast before the first game in Tulsamere. The one that I ended up just paying the life, and I was like, oh, I got to cast this so I can go get Crater Hoof Behemoth
but he had
attack.
already won
And then
the
you guys
game.
were like, as soon as you go to your attack phase, you gain over 100 life and you kill them both. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you didn't have to do an attack step. It's just...
But yeah, this is just a ridiculous card. I mean, you're going to go find Crater Hoof almost every single time, even if it's in your graveyard.
But again, it's a pretty good utility card as well. So I think it's just good all around. Really, really good.
Then our next one is Ugin the Effable. Ineffable.
He's ineffable.
I don't know. He looks
So
pretty effable.
Planeswalker, your colorless spells cost 2 less. You can +1 it to put a 2/2 into play, which turns into a draw spell, kind of.
Yeah.
And then you can have removal on it as well.
So it has like everything to this, you know?
Yeah.
And we were kind of debating, like we were trying to figure out the cards, and this was kind of towards, it's towards one of the last ones we were discussing, and I totally forgot about the...
If the 2/2 dies, you get that.
And I was
card
like,
in
oh
your
no,
hand.
and this is for sure. This has to be way in there because because it doesn't even. It can get exiled. It's just whenever it leaves the battlefield, you get that card.
And so, like, if you think about it, this card in the right deck ramps you, gets you creatures if you need, card draw, and removal. That's like everything you want. And for 6 colorless mana goes in any deck you want.
Yeah.
And it's much more easy on the casting than the first Ugin, which is 8 mana. And like this is just going to get so many more activations in. So this card is quite good.
Then we move into this one is the one that I kind of hinted at earlier. I believe you go
Narset, Parter of Veils. Is
each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn, and then that by itself is good.
Yeah, so Leovold, Emissary of Trust, is banned as a commander and banned in Commander as a whole, and that's what this effect is. So it can't be your
Commander,
thank God. But this goes in every blue deck, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so this is the one where I was talking about. The uncommons are at $35-40 right now.
Yeah,
approaching 50. Actually, the promo ones,
and it's almost
50.
a $4 uncommon on its own right now.
It's just insane.
And then the -2 is putting a card in your hand anyway. Yeah, and that is also good.
So definitely pick these up because this card isn't gonna. It's not going to go below where it's at, even though it's at uncommon.
We are starting to look into Oathbreaker, and if you don't know what that is, that's where you have a Planeswalker as like your commander, kind of. Then you can have an instant or sorcery spell that's kind of works with it. And so I'm pretty sure because of Windfall, like the Windfall gets everybody's hand down to 1 with this. Don't be that dickhead. Yeah. If you're playing Oathbreaker,
Teferi's puzzle box is spiking because of it now.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a modern deck.
Yeah,
it's that good of a card. And I would also say like it's probably there's only one Planeswalker that I noticed was banned in Oathbreaker, and that was Saheeli the Gifted. This will be soon enough, in my opinion.
Sure. So, like Lowry said, we will probably be breaking down Oathbreaker. We're going to get a little more in tune with it, and then kind of talk about it because that's an interesting format to play.
I think we'll probably make decks for Modern Horizons, and then start digging into Oathbreaker a little bit. But of course, that's going to come out.
But we're not called the Oathbreaker Smiths.
I know, but it'd be nice to dabble and see what it's like.
Yeah. No, it's very similar.
I might just build a deck just for see how it works and how it's different.
Because just
you don't have to
glance at it. It feels like it's more for your shorter games. If you don't have a lot of time, then it will go a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk about that.
All right, the next card, Karn's Bastion. Now, this is just anytime that you have a land that has another utility that you can use in a lot of decks is freaking a card to go after. And right now, this being under $3 is actually pretty crazy. I don't think this will stay. I think eventually, not like right away, but in the next couple of years, this one's going to be over a $10 card.
This goes in a ton of decks.
Because it's add 1 colorless mana, but then you can tap 4 and proliferate. So you put it on
goes in
anything.
+1/+1 decks, goes in -1/-1 counter
Planeswalker
decks.
Token decks.
Yeah, what?
Oh, not token.
No, it doesn't count for token.
But like experience decks, right? Choose any number of permanents. Oh no, that wouldn't. You're not a permanent. So. We're just gonna erase all that stuff I just said.
I hope you do.
Yeah, I'm going to because I'm like naming things and it's like no, not that one.
No.
Why don't you read the card, Adam?
You do that.
Now I'm not gonna erase it because we're laughing about it. Let's see, what else can we not put it on that I'm going to say that you can? You can put it on poison counters.
Poison counters, yeah. Anything that puts counters on a player.
Wait.
This card.
No, it totally is right.
Does it work?
Yes, any number of permanents and or players. So experience counters work.
On air.
All right.
Production.
Let's laugh back, and Adam's right. Yeah, remember they changed...
it says and or players. You stop reading after permanents.
Yeah, but...
And or players.
You thought I was wrong, too.
I was like, read it. Oh boy!
All right,
I'm glad we got there.
I was wrong, and then I was right, and
we all laughed.
We got our opener. I was wondering if we were going to get our opener today. I was like, we're not goofy today, even after doing our battle beer. Boxes. Yeah, I could not drink that beer.
I noticed.
All right, so after we discuss that is a very good card because it goes in. Let's
Karn's
talk it
Bastion.
Again. Yeah,
is a good card.
Yeah. Moving to the next one.
Mm-hmm. Vivian, Champion of the Wilds. This allows you to play creature spells at flash speed. It draws you cards. It does a lot, and just being able to
3-drop Planeswalker.
Yeah, 3-drop Planeswalker, and it's just creature spells, not green creature spells or specifically. It's just that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome card to have. Our next one on list is Bolas's Citadel. We've raved about this one. Everybody kind of, except it's weird. It's only at $2, but 3 black legendary artifact. Look at the top card of your library at any time, so you're not revealing it to everybody. And then you may play the top card of your library by just paying life to do it. Mm-hmm. And I guess you got the bonus at the bottom. Sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. I mean, that can come in handy in a commander game late.
And playing it allows you to get that land off the top of your library as well for one spot at it. Like, it just...
This is going to be
so powerful.
Yeah, this is one that I'm wanting to just keep going down in price and then picking up a bunch of these later.
Have you ever thought about putting this in like the new Tesa deck?
Yeah,
where you'll be able to get that little bit of reach, sacrifice a bunch of creatures, get all those doubling effects.
Yeah,
and then you're able to do it the next turn.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I might have to put that in there.
How about you don't?
Then we have this one, which is one of the better clones that's out there.
Yeah, so Spark Double is a clone for creatures and planeswalkers. Now the cool thing is it takes away the legend rule on it. So being able to, I was comparing it to like a one-shot Helm of the Host, and it's a lot cheaper that way. And Helm of the Host seems to always just impress me. And you play it a lot more than I do.
I almost put it in every single deck.
Yeah, and I always look at it and go, oh, this is so expensive. But it always seems to really work out for you. Mm-hmm. And Spark Double just is a one-shot, 4 mana for it. And just think like getting a second Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh or just whatever, like Sahelia the Gifted, like that seems crazy. Or just easily, you could have this in any Helm of the Host deck well, and just boom, just tons of clones. And it gives 1/1 counter on that legend or like creature or
plus
another loyalty counter. Yeah. Like that feels just really powerful.
I think it takes over any clone really there. I mean, there's some other ones, but I think that's one of the best ones that's out there. And then I think we got Ashiok Dream Renderer, and this one's a 3-drop. Spells and abilities your opponents control. Lowry likes this one. Can't cause their controller to search their library. Oh no, I was thinking the sacrifice one. Yes, this one is pretty sweet because you do this and people with their fetch lands and all that stuff, or tutors, which we don't play as many as we used to. So this won't affect us as much.
Well, you still
it's still good for...
It stops your opponents from ramping.
Yeah.
And it's only affecting your opponents.
And the other thing, minus one ability is target player puts the top 4 cards of their library in the graveyard and then exile each opponent's graveyard.
Yeah, so it's graveyard hate and it's search their library hate.
Each opponent. It's not, you're not having to go, okay, target opponent, like...
Or it doesn't affect you either. Like, it doesn't... You can put this in your, recursion deck.
I feel like if it just had that ability, it would still be
It'd be solid,
playable card.
And so this is a really great, easy hate card for black and blue. I would put the, because you can even target yourself to mill 4, and I put this straight in Muldrotha of the Gravetide. Mill 4 into my deck, get rid of everybody else's graveyard. They can't search for stuff. It's so good in there.
Yeah, that's an awesome card. And then our last one.
Going with Evolution Sage. This is just a 3/2 Elf Druid for 3. Whenever you have a land come into the battlefield, you proliferate.
So you can't put it on players or... What
no,
you can put it on?
You can. Come on now. We're an informative...
the first thing I did was populate. And that's where I messed up, and I said you can make copies of the tokens.
Yeah.
And then I went with, okay, I'm going to say...
And that's probably how you got me, because you set me up with something definitely wrong.
Yeah.
And then you kept on saying stuff. I was like, I'm going to read this.
I don't know.
But yeah, just easy proliferate triggers.
Yeah.
You're always going to play lands. Yeah. Like, this goes great in a landfall deck, planeswalker deck.
The nice thing is, again, we talked about it before, it's whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, so it doesn't have to
fetch, it affects twice, or, just put more lands into play at one turn. Like, it's good.
Scape shift.
Yeah, crazy.
Gitrog deck. Did you already say Gitrog deck?
I did not.
Okay. For a second, I was like, did I just pull a Lowry where he just named off the commander? And then I was like, yeah, Gitrog, one Lowry just said.
So I think that we both think that's going to be pretty popular and important card.
Yeah, this is a solid 10, but honestly, there's 30 in this frickin' set that you
I was being really conservative, and I ended up with 14. And then
what was
I don't know where you were with your list was 13 or 15.
Yeah,
and then we had
on
about
7,
half overlap, and then we just had a debate about the other 10 cards.
Yeah. It was
that's not real math, but
yeah. We're thinking, should we do a long list of honorable mentions? So it'd be more of
yeah,
top 10 of honorable mentions. All right, so
but instead we're doing Smith Specs of the Week.
Smith Specs of the Week, guys. There we go. My first one is a couple of ours. Both of ours have been on the rise, but Thopter Foundry is one to go after. I'm still able to pick these up for under $1 or around $1 right now. The reason why this has kind of gone crazy is we talked about last week a little bit with Urza and then
the new mage.
Yeah,
that allows you to go find artifacts of 2 mana cost.
Thopter Foundry foils have jumped up to 20 for Sword of the Meeks. Both foil and non-foil are way up there. So this card has been on the rise. It was under $1 a couple weeks ago. Now it's about $1.50 or $1.
But nobody's played with the deck in a tournament, and if that is a breakout deck, then I can definitely see the card going up more.
Another thing to look out for is Saffron Olive made a deck last week with it, or a couple days ago with it, and he hasn't play tested yet. It's one of those
it was
deck
tech,
techs.
yeah.
So if it gets voted to play and then he does well, this could go sooner than the next Modern tournament. But just to give you a heads up, I sold 4 of them for $18. Now, it hasn't happened again.
I don't know how you did that.
I know. I took the 18. I was like, well, I guess I'll buy more of them because they're selling and they're still on here for 70 cents. So there is a good supply because you actually have 2 Commander sets that have it and Alara Reborn. The ones from Alara Reborn were the ones that sold for 18. So they're a little bit more expensive, but you can pick up the Commander ones, like I said, for around $1. And so we've spec'd on this one before when they unbanned Sword of the Meek. And it spiked, but then no one was playing with the deck. It didn't really do anything.
It didn't do well.
And so it just came back down, and it got to under $1. And this has been a good card. You've played with this before.
I really like this card in EDH2 because it's just a grinding engine. It's a mana sink, or you can just make a ton of tokens with it. It's a great card.
All right, your first one.
It's going to end up going with Words of Wilding. This is 2 colors and a green. Whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1, and if you do, you put a 2/2 green bear creature into the battlefield. Now this is instead, yeah. So you don't draw the card, you just make the 2/2. It went from 50 cents. It is on the rise up to about $1.50 around there, and that's going up because of the new bear commander, which is Ayuli. I don't know.
That bear.
So the bear, like when I first saw it, I was like, "There's nothing to do with it." But if they're looking at bears, they might actually put a little bit more support into bears in the future. And I can see this. It's an older rare that might not have a lot of supply out there. So I think if you make bears a little bit more interesting, this card can definitely go up. But there's that little bit of potential because this will go in every bear deck at this point.
Spoiler alert, the thing that we're going to be talking about are tribes that are lacking in sometime in the future here.
Yeah.
That was the thing we talked about from Twitter. So bears might be on this list.
Could.
Because I do think they need a little bit more support.
They should.
Because the bears suck. No, that's what makes this card good is that you find ones that are more unique, and this one is a little bit more unique than just a 2/2 bear. It has you're able to generate more if you're able to draw more cards, tap 1 and you get more bears.
And like as an example, there's a card called Bearscape where you can pay 2, remove 2 cards from your graveyard, and you create a 2/2 bear. That went from 50 cents up to $8.
Yeah.
Now I think that might have been a little premature because I think there was a lot of hype on it, but I think
people like the weird tribal
if you
stuff
can find it for under, I would try and find it as cheap as possible because this has potential.
And it's an old set too.
Yeah.
The thing is if they do something with Commander where it's like tribal that isn't of stuff that's necessarily good, I could see this being in a Commander set maybe. No?
I don't know about that. Yeah. I don't know about that. Probably good in any non-green deck.
But yeah, for sure. If you get these around $1 and this has just been on the rise.
He didn't notice it.
What?
Nothing.
What'd you say?
Nothing.
Is this something else that I'm going to get when I'm listening again? I'm like,
it was a burn from last week when you were so pissed.
But what?
When I was like, you're like, this will go really good. You can go search for Tiger, Stomper Grounds. I was like, yeah, this will be good in probably any non-green deck. Like, you
such a dick. All right, my next one is Archfiend of Ifnir.
That's right. It's not Ifnir.
Well, Ifnir.
I go with that.
There's 2 versions you can go for. You can go for the buy a box promo foils, which are I was able to pick these up for like 70 cents.
Super cheap.
Or you can go with the pre-release ones or regular foils around $1, $1.50. But we've liked this card from when it came, since it came out. It just didn't have really.
It doesn't have an enabler.
We have a dog.
Thanks, son.
So the interesting thing is it's Yawgmoth that got printed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the one that works well with this. Could work well with it because of the cycling
it's helping
effect.
putting -1/-1 counters on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doubles it. Because it's putting you're discarding a card, or now I have to pull it up.
What does Yawgmoth do?
Now I have to pull him up. Yeah, so Yawgmoth actually works really well with this because you tap 2 black, discard a card, you proliferate. So you're discarding something, and so what that does is it triggers Archfiend, puts a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponents control, and then you proliferate after that, so now you're doing it again. So you just by discarding something, you're putting 2 things out, and then you're drawing a card off of that. So you're
almost
replenishing
turned it
your
into
hand.
a Wrath. And this card's really good in the Varina Lich Lord deck from the Esper deck from last year. It gets crazy. Yeah. So this card is really powerful in the right kind of deck.
I was always disappointed this one wasn't a legendary because then it felt like that was going to be the cycling commander, really good. And I was like, this is the perfect card for that. But
just think if you have a lot of wheel effects in black, and if you're black, blue, red, and you're wheeling a ton, this card gets bonkers with it.
Yeah, and
because you discard 4
Nekasar or whatever. Yeah.
So this card can be played in a lot of decks, and I've been surprised for a year or two at how cheap it is.
Set this low, yeah. So foils you get for dirt cheap, and I don't know. I'm impartial to both arts. Like they have the buy a box ones it looks a lot crazier, and the other one looks a little more calm. So I would go with either one. Yeah. I bought quite a few of each, but they're so cheap. That's what I was like.
And the other thing to think about is they added a lot more cycling cards into Modern with this Modern Horizons that have come out, and so that could potentially get this somewhere in Modern. Probably not, but I mean, with more cards,
throwing down
opportunity.
$5-10 and get a bunch of these, and if they jump up right now, I mean, if they don't jump up now, I think in the future this could be, if they start making more things with cycling, this could go up a little bit more. Mm-hmm. All right, your next one, Lau.
Next one is going to be Foil Heroes Podium, which gives it's basically a one-sided coat of arms kind of if you're in a legendary deck. So each legendary creature you control gets +1/+1 for each other legendary creature you control. And that why I'm saying this is because of the new Captain Sisay that came out. You turn that into a legendary creature deck. You're searching up a bunch of stuff. Heroes Podium gets in, then you can tap X, tap it, look at the top X cards, and then you can put a legendary creature into your hand that way. And so this is card draw. It's like creature pump, and this works really well. And now I can kind of tell like this is a maybe. I think the foils are sitting around $2 right now, which is super cheap. And so the nice thing is like the new Captain Sisay doesn't seem to have a lot of traction. I don't know how popular it's going to be. So this one probably won't move a whole ton. I wouldn't buy a whole ton into this, but probably a play set.
Yeah, for sure. And get the foils, like you said.
Yeah. And then you just have a lot more potential because
I mean, it's already gone up. It's doubled in price. Went from $1 to $2.
And so this card, I think, is going to be a lot better. Like as they print more and more commanders or like legendary creatures, they've had a couple, Dominaria last year was so legend heavy, and you have Kamigawa set that's very legend heavy. So that is a theme that they return to every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. I can dig it. Can you dig it? I can dig it. All right, my last one. Oh yeah, you wanted a bonus in there. So my last one comes from Modern Horizons. The new, we kind of talked about last week. Adam number 2 clarified how this worked out. We talked about the ninjas attacking if they get blocked.
We were pretty right.
Yeah, we were right on it. Yep. Yeah. So Cunning Evasion. This is an enchantment, 1 blue, 1 colorless. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may return it to its owner's hand. Now, on Goldfish right now it says it's 2. I was able to pick, there isn't a lot of copies out there, but I was able to pick them up for around $1 right now, and I don't think it's just for... Every ninja deck's going to use this.
And so what we were talking about last week is you would be able to attack with everything. If they block a ninja, you return that ninja back to your hand, and then you can ninjutsu that back into something like, and that can all happen. But like
a bonus thing is like it doesn't have to be just ninjas. It can be in any deck that you're attacking with creatures and they get blocked, and instead of them dying, they're going back to your hand. Or because there's no tapping that's involved to bring it to your hand, it's for free to go to back to your hand.
And it's not a have to go back to your hand.
Right, so you may. So you get to choose if I want to kill that creature or whatever.
Or like so this card goes really well in like enter the battlefield effects. Like if you want Animar to trigger more because you can just play your creatures for basically free. Or you can have this in a rune deck where you're blanking creatures, but then you can just recast them as well. You got Riku with 2 flames. Like this can go in a lot of decks where you have like cheaper creatures where you want to continue to recast them for their effects.
Yeah.
So I was thinking this, and I did see it on Twitter as well. I don't remember who put it there, but they were comparing it to almost like a weaker Reconnaissance, which we've talked about being really powerful. So like you're saving your creatures. That one is better than this by far, but
it's different because this gives you like you're talking the enter the battlefield stuff.
Yeah.
And that's
so if you're able to use it to that advantage, it makes it a little bit better than Reconnaissance.
But Reconnaissance, by the way,
is crazy.
Go pick that up if you haven't picked it up.
It's a $10 card,
I don't think
but
that one's gonna stay low that long because I just think Commander players don't know about that card as much, and they should.
How tricky it is.
Yeah, because one thing we just figured out in the last couple weeks, and kind of talking with Adam, number 2, is that after the damage is all dealt, you can untap all those creatures that even did damage and because it's still during the attacking phase, and so even your creatures that went through and weren't blocked, you untap them. So it's almost like vigilance in a way.
Yeah, and again, I'd really love to see somebody do like a complete thorough of reconnaissance
just
as
break
what you can
that
do
down,
because I've heard of where you can like untap creatures with tapping abilities and just do it as many times as you want if it's a free ability.
What?
Yeah, so like again, I don't want to like
this isn't gonna be a we were wrong thing.
Yeah. So like I've just heard of it and I'd like a lot more clarification because it is a really confusing card.
If you go on Gatherer, it doesn't really explain
it doesn't clarify. It doesn't give you any like tricks or hints with it. It doesn't say you can untap at the end of the combat and still deal the damage. Like it just it seems like there's a lot of tricks and it's for 1 mana. But again,
we got like they're like, oh, this is such an old card. No one's playing with it. Fuck, we won't explain it. We'll just leave it as is.
Yeah. So I would just, if anybody has like the rules things and they can point to rules and stuff, send us a big list of the cool stuff you can do with it. Like, I'd definitely take a segment on that.
Yeah. Just break down reconnaissance.
Yeah, because I think it's a very unique and like strong.
It's definitely
card.
going. I don't think we put that on our cards, underplayed commander cards, but that's definitely going on the list.
It's definitely there.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing that again at some point. We have a list kind of generating there. But your last one, kind of.
So the last two are pretty similar in spots, but Glacial Crevices, this is an enchantment from Ice Age, which is on the reserve list, but you can sacrifice a snow-covered mountain. No creatures deal combat damage this turn.
So
no creatures deal damage this turn, which is different. That's what it states. Maybe there's an Oracle text on that about combat damage. I don't know. But like if you had something that just did direct damage, like Niv Mizzet Perun.
Should we check it?
It'd be interesting. Yeah, let's
Well,
look at the
you go
Oracle.
ahead and read this next one. And
so along the other lines, it's Sunstone, which is a 3-mana artifact. You can pay 2, sacrifice a snow-covered land, and then you create a fog effect. So these two are right there. You're just getting a lot of snow-covered lands out there right now with Modern Horizons, and I think these become more relevant for fog effects and having the bonus of having the snow-covered lands being able to be sacrificed. I've had
you're coming around on snow-covered lands, is what you're telling me?
Potential. Well, I'm just saying there's a good potential because snow-covered lands hasn't been out for over 10 years at this point. Cold Snap was a long time ago, and I think you're going to get a large influx of these cards in. And once people find out about it, then the cards go crazy. Because Constant Miss is a $6-7 card right now. This is reserve list sitting around 2, wasn't it?
And it is prevent combat damage that would be dealt.
So it
isn't Niv Mizzet won't.
Niv
Mizzet won't affect that. But
so this is combat. So it is a fog, and Sunstone is a fog. Both these cards are pretty good. I would compare them to something like Constant Miss, which is green colorless fog, buyback, sacrifice a land. You just have to do so, like have those 3 in there, or Glacial Crevices is just a snow-covered mountain, but you put that in a mono red deck, you can swing all out and sack mountains all you want.
Well, Sunstone can be. Oh yeah, Crevice. Yeah, okay. I was getting it mixed. Yeah, that one you have to do mountains. This one you can do any.
But that one's free. This one is you pay 2 for the effect. But having both of them is not a bad effect if you're just super aggro and then you want to be able to survive a bunch of turns.
For sure. I'm picking them up. I know I already have Glacial.
Yeah, I have
Crevasses. But I do not have Sunstone. That's a interesting card. I'm surprised it's only like 30 cents.
Yeah, 30 cents for Sunstone. I believe it's an uncommon, but they're both. I can see them both going way up.
For sure. All right. Well, that is everything for today. You guys can check us out on Twitter
at CommanderSmiths.
You can go to Gmail, give us songs, give us stuff, cool things, and beer.
Interact. Talk. CommanderSmiths.
Go on YouTube, subscribe, like our page, share with your buddies, and say
you know what we forgot to do? If you put Garuk's Dong in our YouTube page underneath this.
People have been unique with it. Garuk's Dong with Meat Force.
Yeah, it's if you put Meat Force, you are disqualified. It is Garuk's Dong.
Only Garuk's Dong. So even people that did it last week on the last episode,
you can re-enter and resubmit.
Yeah, so you'll get in the second drawing. And then we did Twitter.
At CommanderSmiths. Hey, at CommanderSmiths.
At CommanderSmiths.
At CommanderSmiths.
I think that's everything. So check out our... Also go on Twitter. Make sure to do the voting, because that's also another way.
Yeah, if you go onto Twitter, find the picture that's talking about the battle boxes and guess who won and what was the record for the war aspect of it. And we'll try and send out a proxy that way as well. We will be... So you got like...
4 days,
3 or 4 days. You want to set a time? You're going to release this on Friday?
Yeah, I'll try to get it out by Friday afternoon if I can.
You have at least until Friday.
Yeah.
Maybe longer.
Maybe.
But you got 4 days.
So yeah, get it out there, then you get a proxy off of that, and you don't have to be a patron or anything.
One entry. If you do 2 or 3 and just keep on guessing, I'm gonna fuck you. You don't get that.
Exactly.
You can't just be like spam or
It's
probably not worth your time.
First entry is the one that we will see.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Instead of fuck you, it's first entry.
Yeah, don't fuck our fans. Well, fans. I wouldn't say fans.
The 3 of them are fine.
Our listeners. That's more like, don't fuck our listeners. Kirsten wouldn't like that.
No.
You're like thinking about it. You said something about your exes on the last episode.
She would clearly not like that.
All right, that should do it for this week. We will check in next week.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.